Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, before I even had a YouTube channel, because it's been rolling around in my head for the last, I would say, 5-6 years. It just appears to me that the modern day cinema movie making is kind of getting watered down anymore with things. Even though the budgets of movies and shows is so big anymore, it looks like the quality of the movie is just, there's nothing there. Let me explain. Now you can see in the thumbnail I have cinema versus content. One is the Lord of the Rings. The other one is Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings. Two different types of style, but it's in the same universe as Lord of the Rings, correct? Well, as you can see, the Lord of the Rings, at one point, all three movies of Lord of the Rings in 1999, I think it was made at that point. They was released in 2001. Guess how much all three cost for the budget in that year? Okay, I'll let you think for a second. It was $281 million to make all three of the Lord of the Rings in 1999. Now I know you're like, well, Eric, that's freaking 25 some years ago, right? What would it be today? Well, today it would be, counting inflation, would be $416 million for all three episodes, all three movies, a trilogy basically, to make all three, 416, give or take, $1 million. Now, compared to Rings of Power, right? Rings of Power had 8 episodes, 1 season. The budget for that, supposedly, being when they started doing it, was $100 to $150 million per season. Well, unfortunately, it grows from $100 million to $1 billion to make that show. Now, I don't know if you liked it or not. I did not, and I'll give you my explanation of why. It is, and it just, yeah, I'll just get into it. Before I get into it, I'm going to give you 2 clips, okay? The first clip I'm getting ready to show you is a Lord of the Rings clip, okay? Here, and I'll go ahead and play it.
Even the wisest cannot tell, for the mirror shows many things.
All right, now I'm getting ready to show you Rings of Power clip. Alrighty then, hope you enjoyed that scene. I know I didn't. But anywho, as you can see, a big difference. Now, I know one was made in 2001 and the other one was made in 2022. I get it. It's a little bit different lens, different camera. But you can tell a big difference just what's on the freaking screen. One was more, it has a better feel to it, a better quality of the shots. The other one is just super freaking clean, and they do slow-mo of stuff that really don't need to be slow-moed, and a freaking cringe smile on her face, and I don't know what kind of storytelling they're trying to present by that. It's very odd. But the reason I did those clips to show you is one is cinema, the other one's content. And how I view content, now, I know people on YouTube make content, that's what we say all the time, and that's fine. But when it comes to movies or shows, I want to see kind of maybe I expect too much out of studios. But I'm thinking, okay, you paid $1 billion to have the rights to Lord of the Rings, and you do this? You waste $1 billion on this? And this is what we got? What? But it seems like even like Disney Plus and other shows, they're in a big rush to make the content, hurry up and make it, put it out there and put it on their streaming services so they have something to watch on their streaming services. They don't take their time to develop the characters, to develop the stories, to do everything, fine-tune it to be better. This is how I would see back in 1999 when Peter Jackson, everybody was getting to had the idea they're gonna make this season. And make this movie. They probably had planned out what they're going to do and the things they have to go through to get to it and the challenges and all that stuff. But they had their mind and heart, we're going to do it. And I think it boils down to, Captain Obvious over here, passion. their passion, you can tell the passion of their work in The Lord of the Rings. And that's the reason, in my opinion, even though I'm a freaking Star Wars fan, I think Lord of the Rings is the all-time best trilogy ever made. Hands down. Because you can see they care about the shots. They care about the story. They loved it. They tried their best to make the best they could with the money they have. They didn't have $1 billion budget. They had 200 at that time, 200 would now be 400 million for all three. So they had to probably choose what money goes here and there. Just the struggles of making movies, right? But they choose their best to do it, and they made a fantastic trilogy compared to movies and shows now with the content aspect of it. They just want to rush. You want to rush and put it all in there and make it work. And it shows. I don't know if you see it, but I see it. Not all of them, but most of them. They just want to rush. And I get it. There's a time they got to do this because they got to film this. You got to film this. They have this content come down here. They have to rush, and you don't have to. And then tell the actors, you don't have to do research. Just go ahead and act. And it suffers. The acting, the plot, the story, everything suffers because you rush. You don't care. You just want to hurry up and do it. With Ring of Power, after watching it, it was just a CGI fest. I thought it was. It was just super freaking clean. I mean, you can tell it was shot in a green screen. Now, I know they had some locations and stuff, but most of it was, I have to do another video comparing how different, the castles and stuff they was in compared to Lord of the Rings. I know Lord of the Rings, they actually built their houses and stuff, and then compared it, it's just night and day. And you would think, with that much big of a budget, they could afford about anything to help that show. And they're supposed to be making, I think, they're scheduled to make, 3 more seasons? We'll see how that goes. But anywho, I just wanted to make this video to talk about how content is taking over more than cinema. I think we still do have cinema movies here and there with people who has the same passion as Peter Jackson did in 20 years ago. And I think people still have it. And I think it's not the actors. I don't think it's the directors. Heck, not even the writers. I think they have the vision. I think they have what it takes to make a great movie or show. But it really boils down to the studios. I think the studios, if they really want to make a movie or a show that it's timeless, evergreen, that people will appreciate like I do with Lord of the Rings, give the budget a limit, like no more than $50 million or whatever, and give it to them. And don't have no interference. Just step back and let them do things. Netflix do that, I would say, for first season and episodes. First season of basically any seasons that I can see. Now, when the second season comes in, usually you can see there is a little bit of a studio interference, as they call it. Because you can say, well, they have to have this check mark. They have to have this check mark. And it's just kind of like, all right. But it's just sometimes it works. So they can still push through. Even though they have that junk in it, they still kind of banner on. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to content, there's some rush to get what's next? What's next? What's next? And I'll give you another example, and I hope this makes sense. It makes sense up here, so hopefully it makes sense to you. How I gauge on movies or shows is how I gauge with food. Okay, let me explain. Have you ever sat down at a sit-down restaurant, and you had a fantastic meal? If it's the best steak you ever had, the best chicken, the best whatever, right? I would say 2-3 months later, even years later, you look back like, man, that one place had the best steak I ever had. You know what I'm saying? And you look fondly back to that, and you might visit back to that restaurant and still get the same great experience before, right? Now, other shows or other movies, it feels like just a fast food restaurant or fast food. Just go through the drive-through, pick up fries and nugs, and that's it. It was something. It was okay. It was a little hot than usual. It was better, a little salty, and I enjoyed that. But you don't look back fondly, I would say, 2 hours later, and it's like, oh, that was great fries or great chicken nuggets. No, you just go on like nothing. That's how I think about cinema to content. Content is just a fast food place. Cinema is a experience. You can tell the cooks doing a great job fixing this meal. They know how to make a good steak. They know how to make a great meal. They want the customers to enjoy it. Fast food, yeah, they care about the customers to a certain point. They just want to hurry up and make the burgers, hurry up and make the fries, hurry up and make the nuggets. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. If not, I apologize, but that's how I see it, and that's how I rate movies and shows. If it's a fast food kind of experience or a sit-down restaurant experience, and that's how I view like a movie like this, Lord of the Rings. That's a 4-course meal to me. The best steak with the best dessert, with the best fries, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is the best ever that I've ever had. But you know, sometimes too, I'm still open to I was open to Rings of Power, but it just fell flat. It was just too clean of it. They want that content. They don't want the cinema. They say they want the best, and they're just not doing it. But anywho, I know this is a little bit longer again of a video. I just start talking and ranting. I get kind of lose control of the time, but I hope that makes sense. And if you disagree with me, that's cool too. And I hope you enjoy it. And I'll talk to y'all later. Later.